Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is year 1950. I'm 9 years old. Around me, the city I had lived in is swept up by war. Though I am too young to comprehend the political machinery behind the chaos, I quickly understand that my life has been turned on the head and that at any moment, I or some of my family members could be killed. We hide in an underground bunker, and every day I walk about 16 kilometers to find enough food for everyone. As I return home, the bombers appear in the sky, and I run for cover, letting whatever groceries I found drop to the ground. The smell of the hundreds of dead bodies on the street is nauseating, but I force myself to remain hidden. Today, that terrible smell has not left my memories. I may have been too young to be mobilized for war, but I was old enough to realize its horrors. The Korean War ended in 1953, and I was allowed to grow up in relative peace. I pursued my interest in law first as a judge advocate in the Korean Army, and then later as a foreign attorney at the New York law firm. Throughout this time, I often thought of how lucky I was to have survived the war and to have had the opportunity to go on and live a normal life. To enjoy peace and prosperity is an incredible privilege. And those of us who have been granted this blessing must ask ourselves what to do with this gift. When the International Criminal Court was established by its founding treaty, the Rome Statute, on the 1st of July 2002, I was a professor of law at the Seoul National University and about to go to the Harvard Law School to teach as a visiting professor. When the national experts group of my country, after weeks of intensive search, nominated me as a judge candidate for the ICC, I was deeply honored and excited extremely about the possibility of serving on the historic new international court in the making. This was an opportunity for me to be part of a movement to hold ourselves to a higher standard, both morally and legally. A moment in which the atrocities committed in war would be punished and prevented. My experience as president of the ICC has reinforced my conviction that the world needs a mechanism which will end impunity and deter future crimes. I have met with victims in Uganda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Some were former child soldiers grappling to rebuild their lives. Other victims were missing arms or legs, lips or ears and noses, which had been intentionally cut off. The brutality which they suffered reminded me that, unfortunately, with so many countries caught up in conflict, we are far from eradicating depravity and mass violence. In war, there are times in which the most cruelly creative sadism takes place. Just imagine for a moment women whose reproductive organs have been so badly mutilated by rape and sexual violence, and that they are stripped of their right to motherhood. Or place yourself in the shoes of a man who was forced to kill his own wife because she was a member of a rival ethnic tribe. A parent whose child has gone missing in the chaos is condemned to spend a lifetime caught in a grieving web of unanswered questions. Lives can be destroyed without the clash of arms. Someone's mother can still be tortured, or their brother forced to disappear. Gunshots need not be fired for a life to fall apart. These instances are not isolated, but instead are repeated across the world in many different circumstances. Physical wounds may heal, houses can be rebuilt. Yet, these men, women, and children will not have their lives returned to them the moment a ceasefire or peace accord is signed. Childhoods cannot be replaced. Instead, the nightmares and fear will continue to poison and cut through the fabric that weaves a society together. When crimes such as these are committed, the world plunges in darkness as the perpetrators of these atrocities turn off the light of humanity. There are moments when the world comes together to stand united in defiance of being represented by such flagrant immorality. Moments in which a diverse group of peoples are resolved to break the silence and shine a glaring light on those who have reveled in impunity. The establishment of the International Criminal Court was the culmination of such moments. No longer do we avert our eyes from the suffering of peoples beyond our immediate sphere. We are all responsible for each other, linked together in this interdependent world. It is now possible to prosecute those who are most responsible for tearing communities apart and for inflicting trauma that will take generations to heal. Instead of being swept under the rug, the ICC gives the anguished a platform for their voice. This form of empowerment is one of the avenues through which people can move forward, working toward a stable nation. Peace and justice must go hand in hand. By helping to restore the rule of law, the ICC lends itself to the peace process as a nation comes to terms with its past so as to build a stable future. The real power of the ICC is in its action as a catalyst. The ICC system calls for its member states to include the most serious crimes into their own national legal system and to make sure that such crimes are prosecuted. In this way, the space for impunity is reduced. The ICC is the answer to the wailing voices in the shadows. It is an embodiment of the conviction that no victim should be left behind in the pursuit of justice. Indeed, the ICC is meant to provide an avenue for victims to seek justice if their own nations are unable or unwilling to do so. Even more importantly, the ICC is an essential step toward ensuring that future generations do not have to live in fear of these horrendous, destructive crimes. Today, in 2012, 10 years after the Rome Statute entered into force, the International Criminal Court is a fully functioning judicial institution with 121 states parties. The member states hail from all parts of the world: Africa, Europe, Asia, the Americas, the Caribbean, and so forth. The court is busy with several trials as well as investigations. The charges being prosecuted include truly heinous acts such as use of child soldiers, sexual slavery, murder, rape, deportation, involving often thousands of victims. The ICC is a progressive system which aims not only to seek punishment for crimes, but also to help establish an enduring peace. The ICC has the power to order reparations, and a trust fund for victims is engaged with long-term victim assistance programs. These projects play a key role in the recovery of communities affected by atrocities and the rehabilitation of victims of torture and sexual violence. International criminal law developed in fits and starts since the Nuremberg and Tokyo tribunals. Yet, we persevered, driven and bound by a greater duty to take from the shambles of war and fashion a better world to leave for our children. In this same way, I ask all of you here to stand in global solidarity to ensure that everyone is protected from the worst atrocities. Go online tonight. Check if your country is a member of the ICC. If your nation is indeed a member, make sure that it has provided this system with its complete support. If not, find out why. Write to your government and advocate their participation in this rapidly developing area of the law. I can assure you that any factor that might be cited as an obstacle can be overcome with determination and commitment. None of us here are shackled in a cell, or have our hands tied behind our backs. Our freedom implores our action. Change comes slowly, sometimes hesitatingly, but never lose faith that it will materialize. You see, human beings are blessed with the ability to feel the immense pain or joy of a stranger. We are connected by an invisible string across racial, religious, and socioeconomic lines. This gift of empathy is the driving force behind change. It is this intrinsically human quality which gives credence to the belief that we can hope and expect more from ourselves and each other. The ICC is the outcome of such empathy. It is the epitome of international justice with a human face. With it, we can fulfill our vision of more just world in which mass atrocities are not tolerated. Thank you very much.